Hi, welcome to Andrea's Kitchen. Today we are going to be making fry bread. I love making fry bread for my Indian tacos. So we're going to get started. I'm going to use 2 cups of flour. I already have one. Here's the second. And then we're good as far as flour goes. Then I'm going to use 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And I'm just going to go ahead and mix this like that. Get this all mixed really well. And I'm going to use a ½ teaspoon of salt. And then what I'm going to do is mix the dry ingredients together. Okay, I believe it's all mixed nicely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 tablespoons of lard. So I already pre-did them. Actually, I'm going to break them up just a little bit so it makes it easier for me to incorporate into the dough. So here's number 2. My grandmother taught me how to make tortillas and stuff with regular lard. So a lot of times you can use butter, you can use other substitutions, but I put lard in this and in my fry bread because I think it tastes so good, and then it makes everything nice and flaky. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and start mixing the lard into my dough. And then I'm going to go ahead and go like this, scrape my little pastry mixture here, and I'm going to go fingers. What I want to do is take and incorporate all the lard, this is pieces of lard, into my flour so that every piece of flour is incorporated real well. Makes for fluffy, makes for layered fry bread. Tastes delicious, even distribute. And then also, when I'm trying to get all the flour incorporated so that I don't have pieces that just sit in the bottom. So basically I'm going to take fingers. Fingers are the best way and the fastest way to do it. So I'm just going to put it all nice and squishy in here. And I'm just taking my fingers and doing this. You can use your pastry mixer there or cutter. You can use a knife, 2 knives, 2 forks. I've done it. You know, I've been lazy, not gotten something out of the drawer. Before I didn't have all my little pastry accessories either. So like I said, I did it with a knife, fork, and it came out perfectly fine. That's why I say actually squeezing it with your fingers, you can tell the consistency of the dough is looking different than when I first started. And this will make a good, I would say I could make a good 10 fry bread pieces out of here with this dough. This dough is a really easy dough. I'm also going to turn on my oven, my heat on my, I'm going to turn on my stove. And I'm going to put it on medium for a minute, heat that one up. What I do is I play this little trick and it makes my fry bread rise faster. So I turn it on, leave it on for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to turn it off because when my fry bread is sitting here, I put the towel around it, and then what I do is it's nice and warm on the stove, helps the fry bread rise faster. So it's kind of cool. So that's my little trick I do for myself so that I don't have to wait so long. And I could start frying them up and we can eat. So I'm going to go ahead and make the dough and let it sit for about probably 15 minutes. And then I'll go ahead and get the rest of the ingredients ready. I'm actually going to fry the bread today as well. And then I'm also going to use some of my ingredients that I had in my refrigerator or in my freezer. You know, I tell you guys that I make extra beans, I make extra meats and things like that. So I can make fried breads easier. I don't have to spend all day cooking. I can spend just a portion of my time cooking and we can actually eat. So the dough looks great. I feel that everything is mixed in. My flour is perfect. You can see the way it looks. I'm going to show you how it looks there. And it should, now it doesn't look like raw flour. It looks like it has a texture to it. So we are ready to go. So I'm going to do the little well thing that I always watch them do on TV. And I'm going to take my milk. It's 3/4 cup of milk. And I'm just going to start going like this. And I'm going to start scooping the flour in as I'm spreading the milk. And then what I'm going to do is take my other hand, and instead of just going hardcore, just mushing it in, I'm just mixing it around with my fingers, trying to incorporate as much milk into as much of the dough as I can, so when it is time, and it is time to go in, then my hands won't be as messy. And then what I'm going to do is just take and squeeze it, and then I am going to just knead it a little bit. And then the dough is not going to be, see, the dough is already not sticking as bad. Has a little bit more texture to it. And it's funny, I always wear black. And when I'm baking, I always have flour all over me. So it's kind of funny. But I refuse to wear a different color shirt. So, you know, black, I'm going to be all messed up. So I'm just going to go like this and get it all ready. Starting to go to the right textures of looking good. Just mixing it up. Okay. Just needs to be mixed good. And we are mixed good. We scrape the extra dough off my fingers. Boy, and this is a good dough. It's easy to work with. It's fast to make. You love it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, see, it's all nice and incorporated. It's all smooth now. Everything looks good. There's my dough ball. So I'm just going to put this in my bouillon and let it sit. Clean some of the dough off my fingers. Okay. Boy, I am so messy when I am in the kitchen cooking. Okay, I'm going to turn my stove off. It's warm enough for my little trick. And now I'm going to get some, I got my plastic wrap. I'm going to put it right over. Here's another piece. Boy, I'm the worst when it comes to my plastic wrap. I'm always in a hurry, going 90 miles an hour. So that's what my dough looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and cover it, and then we'll be back. About 15 minutes, we'll be back. Thank you. Welcome back. The dough is done. It's ready to make Indian taco fry bread. This is what my dough looks like. It's beautiful. So I'm just going to take it out. I'm also going to turn my stove on to medium high right now, just to get it heated. I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons of oil. That's what I'm going to fry the bread in. I used to think, oh, fry it in lots of oil. It'll be great. It's better. All it does is make it greasier. So what you want to do is know your pan. Don't want too much. I would say actually I'm using probably about 6 tablespoons of oil. And that's pretty much all you need. So I'm going to heat the pan on a medium high right now. I don't want it steamy or I don't want it smoky. I want it a little less hot than that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it down to like medium low. And I'm going to fry on that. So I'm going to go ahead and separate my dough. This will make 12 easily. But I am only going to make 4 today, or 3 today, and I'm going to save my dough and freeze my dough. I'm big on freezing my dough because I like eating these kinds of things every once in a while. But sometimes to make all your ingredients and the dough, boy, by the time you get out of the kitchen, you're just pooped out. Who wants to cook when you're just so tired? So what I did is I just went ahead and cut my pieces of dough up. I'm going to take and roll a couple of them out. But basically all you have to do is take your dough and put it in a plastic. I wrap mine in plastic, like this kind of plastic here. And then what I do is I actually have my husband use our food saver, and then he'll go ahead and pack my dough. But if I'm going to use it in a couple of days or like tomorrow or something, then I won't do all that. I'll just wrap it in this and put it in a Ziploc, and it'll be perfectly fine. So after I fry the bread, we're going to go ahead and assemble a couple of tacos. So I'm going to get started here. My oil is heating nice. It's heating really good. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And basically what I'm going to do is just roll out a couple pieces. I've got some fresh beans here, refried. You know, I told you guys I like to pre-cook stuff, so this is what I did is I pre-cooked the beans, went ahead and saved them, took them out of my freezer, put them in the pan so we're ready. I also did that with my beef. Usually I use ground beef. Today I'm actually using, I'm going to be using some nice carne asada meat, chopped and already pre-cooked, so that it makes it easier and I can make my tacos and enjoy them after I make them. And then in front of me I've got some sour cream you can use. I've got lettuce. I've got some green onions and some cheese, and then I have some homemade, I call it enhancing my food. It's in between a sauce and a salsa. I usually will put them on my tacos and so forth, and they're good to go. So what you can do is take and you can use your empanada mold and make them this way circled, or you can just roll them out. When it comes to my dough, I don't really care what they look like. It's just the fry bread that tastes delicious, and I don't think that fry bread has to be even like a tortilla. That's why you get to fry it. It's going to make it goodness. But if you are that way, you can go ahead and definitely use your empanada mold, or I say, before I even knew what an empanada mold was, I would just go to the cupboard and get a bowl and do that when I wasn't, when I couldn't make them circled. So that's what I do. That's what I used to do with tortillas. I taught myself to do that because my grandmother would roll tortillas and hers were always perfect. I'm like, how do you even do that? So that's what I do. I'm going to grab a little bit of flour. My dough is so fresh, I don't want it to stick. I want it to be easier, a little bit easier to roll out. I don't want a lot of dough on these, a lot of flour on these, I don't. I just want to be able to roll it out. In fry bread, you do not put it in the refrigerator. I don't. I leave mine heating right like I do my tortillas, right by the stove. So consistency, I don't know, people call it a 1/8 of an inch. It's your preference. If they're too thin though, they will become greasy if they're too thin. So you want to make them a little bit thicker. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and roll out another one. My dough's almost there. And I just circle like I do my tortilla when I first start my tortilla out. These will stay in the refrigerator. The dough will stay in the refrigerator, and it'll be good for a few days. I make them a couple days in a row, depending. And they're good. The dough's good. It's fine. After a couple days, though, I would just make fresh dough. It's that simple. So it's ready, and we're ready to fry. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in, and we are good to go. Okay, it's doing its magic. I'm going to roll another one real fast. Then I have enough for my family to try. beans nice and hot. Like I said, I don't ever worry about what they look like. It's what it tastes like. In the future, you'll get better at rolling. Like, for some reason, I don't roll these as good as I do tortillas, but boy, I can sure roll a tortilla perfectly round. I don't know why I can't fry bread, but maybe it's because it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be delicious. It's looking perfect. I got dough on my face. That's the only thing about rolling. I got dough all over me and flour all over me, and it's crazy. But I always do that. That's why I say when you wear black, that's what you get. And it's so funny, all my aprons are black as well. So some days I'm just covered in flour, food, whatever. I'm very physical. I'm very into my cooking, so I am just covered. Okay. Put that right there. And I'm just cooking, letting it fry. Just has to be brown on both sides. Doesn't take that long to fry. Beans are looking good. Okay. Great, looks great. Let's get another one in. And we're gonna fry. Here it goes. Okay, I'm gonna get my board out of here. It's frying up real good. Just gonna lay mine on the counter. Just gonna check the side. I'm just looking for brown on the side. That's what I'm looking for. As soon as it's a little bit darker, I can flip it and we're good to go. I'm gonna start my meat here. Just gonna put it in the microwave for just a minute. Okay, getting all nice and clean. Okay, it looks perfect. I flipped it over, and we are good to go. Okay, this is the sauce I was talking about. It's somewhere in between a nice sauce. I call it a food enhancer, and but it's not cold like salsa. But it's not real hot like, say, an enchilada sauce. It's not. It's right there in the middle. I am going to use a bigger spoon for that. Let's check the fry bread. It's perfect. Brown on both sides. We're going to go ahead and put another piece in. Broke a piece off, so you know, when you break a piece off, I always say you lay it there and you make sure you test it and it tastes good. You know your fry bread's good. Texture is great. Very hot. Very crispy. That's great. Okay, my meat is good. Okay, well, we're going to leave that one there for a second more. We might have to add this next time just a little bit of oil. You know, I don't want to put too much at first because I don't want them to be greasy. And because I have lard in them, they're already got a little bit of grease. You could see the flakiness in that. That's excellent. I am a paper plate person. I hate to do dishes. So my dishwasher is my best friend, which I like in the kitchen because it helps me tremendously. So my meat is ready. It's nice and warm. I'm just going to put my plate there, cover it up so it doesn't get cold. Excellent. It's ready to go. It's all fried nicely. I'm going to add a little bit of oil more. I have one more to fry. And I'm going to have to let this get a little bit warmer. But you know what? The pan is pretty hot. I can see the waves in the oil. So I just put my hand like that. So I don't have any tomato there on my cutting board because my family is not really into chopped tomatoes. We usually use a salsa on top of our choice, but they like the cheese, the green onions, and the sour cream. And this sauce is actually going to go right after I put the beans. So then what we would normally do is grab a salsa or a taco sauce. I love Taco Bell sauce. My husband loves like La Victoria. Son has one that he likes. And that's what I would do, is just add it like that. Oil is nice and hot, starting to fry great. And as soon as we're done with this one, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to assemble. And that's how easy it is, especially if you have pre-cooked beans, or if you get a can of Rosarita beans, perfectly fine. Any kind of beans you want to use. And then just cheese, lettuce, onions. You can have meat or no meat. I've done it where I've had no meat and just put a little bit more sauce on there. Chicken's another good one. I like chicken. Especially when I have like a baked chicken and we didn't use it all. I'll just shred that baked chicken up and put it on a taco, and it's great. The treat here though is the fry bread. You know, I don't make it very often, but it's a good treat to have. It really is a good treat. I love it. But like I said, because it's grease and there's lard, I don't make it that often. But this sure is a good dinner, and it's a very filling dinner. These are great when you have family over because everybody can dress it themselves. So we are almost done frying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take one and I'm going to start assembling it so you see how it looks while we're frying our last one. Okay. Go ahead and get a piece of fry bread. And what you want to do is just go ahead and put some beans on there. I always put a healthy dose of beans because I like beans. If you're not really into beans, you don't have to put as much as I do. Checking this, I don't want it to burn. I'm just going to flip it one more time. But it is supposed to be golden brown like that. What I'm going to do is take some of this finishing sauce. Now this one is a little bit on the spicy side. This is one of the ones I made before. And I'm always doing that, making sauces so I can use them. That's a perfect fry bread. There we go. And I always turn the last one over so it keeps everything else hot. I'm going to turn my pan down. And then I'm going to go ahead and take and put a nice scoop of carne asada on here. And I'll tell you a secret. If your carne asada, when you buy it, if they don't have one that's super tender, then what you want to do is just go ahead and fry it up in a pan. Very little oil, just a little bit of olive oil. And then I use lemon pepper. And that's pretty much all I use. And then what I do is I cut it really small though. It kind of mimics like ground beef, but it's not ground beef. It's actually asada. You can taste the difference. But like I said, I actually like ground beef on my Indian tacos. So that's what I do with my little, my helper sauce. It gives a lot of flavor. Take a little bit of lettuce. Just put it on like that. And I am not an onion person unless they're ground. So this is how I eat mine. And then my family will take and put green onions. Sometimes I buy tomatoes. The son will eat them. My husband will eat them. But this is what my fry bread looks like. So I'm going to take a bite here. And I just pick it up. A lot of people use a fork and so forth. Not me. I pick it up and I take a bite. That is so excellent. Oh my gosh, you know, the fry bread is so soft because I just made the dough. And I kind of forced my dough to be done a little bit faster so that I could go ahead and make the Indian taco and you could see all the ingredients. So, boy, this is so soft. I cannot believe it. Everything's really good. It's a very inexpensive dish. Honestly, the beans, meat, cheese, lettuce, and making the fry bread, very, very inexpensive dinner. Very good dinner. A little on the heavy side. You don't want to have it every day. But I encourage you to try it. And if you liked the content, please like and subscribe. Well, have a good day and thanks for coming into my kitchen.